Hey, well, welcome. All right, so this is our teacher chat, like number 8, I think. And so along with last week's and this week's, we are having a special one for new teachers. Now there have been a lot of you from Jennifer Gonzalez and Casey Bell and Matt Miller's blog posts that featured Insert Learning. So this has been absolutely amazing. Like my backdrop I'm looking at right now, so I got the radio. I'm hiding in the kids' playroom right now because that's like the quietest place right now to do a webinar. So way this is going to work, I'm going to be set up as a teacher, and I'm going to have you, the audience, going through this lesson as a student. Post your questions in the chat on YouTube Live. You can always watch this recording later on as well. And so the first thing we're going to do is I'm just going to start off by showing you how to create a class, and then you can sign up using that class code. So I'm going to share my screen. And all right, we're going to go with that one. Okay, all right. So you can see my Wonderopolis screen right now. And I'm going to be switching that over to my teacher dashboard. All right. So at this point, everybody should be able to see my teacher dashboard. And welcome. Thank you, Kathy and Librarianator. I love that name. That's great. So where we're going to start this off is I'm going to create a new class. So with Insert Learning, if you haven't already, this is what I want you to do. You're going to go to insertlearning.com and you're going to sign up. You're going to sign up as a student. So before we do that, though, I'm going to show you how this works. And I always forget to say, I'm Matt. I'm one of the teacher co-founders of Insert Learning. We were founded by teachers. I still teach high school science. Karen teaches middle school English. We're about as real as you get for teacher founders of EdTech. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a special class for this one. So I'm going to click on I'm in the teacher dashboard. I'm going to click on the plus on the classes. From here, you can import from Google Classroom, or if you want to, you can do that, or you can just simply, type in the name. So let's say this is going to be teacher chat like 8, because I think that's what it is. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and click create. So I got a lot of classes here, but we head down. We got teacher chat 8. This code. So what I'm going to have you do is sign up as a student. I'm going to put this code over in our chat system here. And what you're going to do is you will go to insertlearning.com. From here, so I should say so Insert Learning, it's a Chrome and Firefox extension. It does not work on iOS or Android devices. We might add it later on, but don't hold your breath. Right now we're focusing on Chromebooks. And what you're going to do is you can click on Add to Chrome. It's going to prompt you to install the extension. If you have any trouble with extensions, we've got some stuff in the Help Center to help your tech department get Insert Learning up and running if they've kind of locked things down. You're going to sign in with Google. And from here, for today, what I want you to do is click on Student, because you can switch between teacher and student, but you're going to click on Student. And then you're going to enter in your class code. And so that was the one that I just gave you. So that was this W7RO. Type in that 4-character class code right there. I'm going to click on Not Now. And then it's going to drop you off into your dashboard. Now, this is the first time signing up for Insert Learning. You won't really find a whole lot there. But what we're going to do is I'm going to switch back to being a teacher now. So now you guys have all signed up as students. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch back to being a teacher. So click on my profile icon. Click on teacher. All right. So now I'm back to my teacher one. What we're going to do is we're going to make a lesson here. So I'm going to head over to one of my favorite sources. Wonderopolis is an awesome one. And you know what? Actually, yeah, let's go ahead and just use Wonderopolis. All right, I'm going to go find one. So the way Insert Learning works, it's a Chrome extension that works on top of almost any web page that's out there. So looking through here, let's find some wonders. And what are some recent ones here? Where's the coldest place on Earth? Because I saw somebody tweeted that they had a snow day, and I'm up here in Minnesota, and it is super cold. It's about 9 degrees today. It's not as cold as it's been. It's nice to see a little bit of the driveway melting a little bit in the sun, so that was good. Get some of that snow melting off. But so I'm going to use this one, right? So this will be over from Minnesota. Wonderopolis is a really neat website, really neat organization. They're a nonprofit, and they create all these great articles for students, and they've got these fun questions at the beginning, and they've got some definitions already in there. You can listen to things. So it's kind of a fun website. But what we're going to do is, problem is, even though it's a really interesting article, you'll still have issues of students not reading through the whole article or kind of getting lost as they're reading through. So we're going to use Insert Learning to fix that. So I'm going to click up here, my Insert Learning Chrome extension, and that's going to load. And on the left-hand side, this is our toolbar. So this toolbar now is what lets you interact with the page as the teacher. So up here at the beginning, I always like to add in some instructions. So I'm going to click on the sticky note. And the way that some of these things work is they work kind of by paragraph. And so notice it's kind of highlighting yellow. So up here, I'm just going to click on the title. I'm going to type in my instructions here. Right? Because, I mean, you know what? A lot of our students just simply forget what they were supposed to be doing when they got there. So now, even though you maybe put it in Google Classroom, we're going to type it right here. So highlight 4 interesting things you wonder about, and add a comment about them, answer all questions. All right. So because you guys are following along with me, what I'm going to do is I'm going to assign this lesson to you, and I'm going to develop it as we're going through it. So I'm going to click up here on the Insert Learning logo and assign it. I'm going to go down to our Teacher Chat 8 class and assign it. So now, if you head over to your dashboard, I'm going to reload my lesson. If you head back to your dashboard, you should now see where is the coldest place on earth, wonderopolis.org, and Teacher Chat 8. You shouldn't have to reload it, but if it didn't pop up, go ahead and reload it anyways, and make sure you're enrolled in our class under your classes tab. So heading back over here, if people have any questions here, I'm going to be checking back and forth. I'm going too slow for Librarianator. Librarianator, I think you must have a hilarious library. Okay, all right. So what if you already tried the teacher account? So Kathy, you can switch back to a student account by just going to your dashboard and then clicking on your profile and then click on teacher. Or sorry, then you can click on student and you can switch between the two. Oh, you already found that. All right. All right, so what we're going to do now is I'm going to reload that page. Or sorry, reload the page. I'm going to load Insert Learning extension on here again. And you should be able to now see, when you get to that page, you can now see that. So down here, I'm going to add in some questions here as we go along, right? Because that's where's the coldest place on earth? I'm going to turn that into a question. I'm going to click on this question button. I'm going to click up here on this, have you ever wondered? I'm going to ask the question of, what do you think is the coldest All right, so now that I created that, you should see that pop up for you as a student going through this. And do people live year-round in Antarctica? How cold does it get in Antarctica? That one I'm going to make a discussion. Quick. All right. So this one I turned into a discussion. So discussions are a little bit different than the questions. With the questions, this one's set up as a free response, so students type their answers in, and then it'll auto-save it. Kathy's already answered that. You like how that just pops up immediately. So this is going to be a live discussion within our class. And then I can also see if Kathy responded to my free response. So I click on View Responses, and then there's Kathy's response. And I can put in a certain number of scores right here as well as we're going along. And let's see. Okay, so now we're going to get through here a little bit more. So as we get down here, even though they've already kind of added in some definitions for here, there's different things that I'll want to be adding in. The wind howls, and a little note, very loudly. So now when I add in my own highlights, and students can do this as well, you can now see my highlights pop up, and I can change the colors as well. So if you want to have students highlighting like vocab words in blue, main idea in yellow, you can then give them those instructions, and then students can annotate them that way. And then as a teacher, you can also view any kind of annotations that they've made on there. So if I click on Kathy here, Now I can see anything that Kathy's highlighted. And actually, I can see that right there. So Kathy highlighted that. So if I go back, you see how this line highlights. So now Kathy's highlighted that. And I can actually, as a teacher, I can see everything that Kathy is highlighting, annotating onto the page in real time. So one last thing I'm going to add onto this page now as we're going along is I'm going to add in a sticky note as we go along here. So after this paragraph, I want to add in video. I kind of want to break this up a little bit. So I'm going to search for a YouTube video. I can type here. And let's see, let's go with this National Geographic one. What I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the URL, so copy the link address. And heading back to this sticky note is kind of like the catch-all. This is where you can put in, there's about 60 different tools that you can embed. They have embed codes, Flipgrid, Edpuzzle, ThingLink, YouTube videos, all different things that you can add in here. So I'm just going to paste that link right there, and now it's going to load in the YouTube video. If you want to add in a Flipgrid, what you'll do is you'll get that iframe embed code and then paste that in there. You can also record videos directly in here, and students can do the same thing. So now as a student, you can watch the video on that page, and this also works with Google Docs as well, so you can insert videos into your Google Docs. And I'm going to follow it up with a question, then saying from the video, right? And now they can kind of answer something. But for this one, set free response, I'm going to make this one a multiple choice question. So as we've got a little hint right here of type here to turn this into a multiple choice question. So as a teacher, if you click right there, say blue, red, green, frozen, and then I'll select the correct response. So as a student, as you're going through, then you're kind of selecting the different ones as you're going along. If you get it incorrect, it's going to give you the instant feedback that it's wrong, and you keep going until you get it right. And what's fun, though, is that on the teacher's side, you can see the order in which they guessed incorrectly. So if Kathy has responded, yes, so Kathy hasn't responded yet to that one. So I'm going to show you what this looks like now as a student. Let's see. Actually, no, I'll go through and I'm going to finish creating this lesson, and I'll show what it looks like as a student. So we're going to go through. Now I'm going to add another question. Now, sometimes it's tough coming up with questions as you're reading along. And so what we've done is we've created 10 text-dependent questions going to help you as like questions to help you get started. So to do that, what you can do is click on this help and support button down here. And then quick lesson ideas and templates is where we've got all of our really fun stuff in here. This 10 text-dependent question. What you can do is you can just kind of copy and paste these. So I'm going to copy that one, so summarize. I'm just going to paste it in there. So I'm going to have summarize the above paragraph and create. So now, what's great about this question is that this is very text dependent. Students cannot Google this and get an answer. They could. It's going to be really obvious they just Googled it. So give them definition paragraph maybe. But it's be a really good way to be able to kind of start breaking this apart. Really, your goal here is to kind of scaffold your text to fit your students' needs and your interests and whatever the needs are of your lesson. So as going along, I always like to kind of follow it up with a question down at the end. And let's see here. So they've also got some fun activities here. Let's see. They don't have a question one down here at the bottom, but I like some of these different ones. So we could even do an activity here. See if like choose one of the above and try it at a station. So let's say if we had stations set up around the room, now when they get finished to this end of this article, they've got instructions on what to now go do. So some really fun things like that. We can even record a video directly and then say, okay, so choose one of those stations from the list above, and then we're going to go and do those. Pick a partner to work with. And I don't know if you could see my screen there. While I was doing that, but my video is going to pop in here in a little bit. There it is. So I recorded that directly by clicking on that little recorder button, and then it shows up. So we're all done with our lesson, and I've assigned this out to my class, so you guys can now access it right away. When I'm ready to view all the responses, there's two different ways. One, I can view the responses on the lesson itself by clicking on here. So here I can see what's fun about this, because as a science teacher, I was super excited about this as we're making multiple choice ones, being able to see the order that students guessed incorrectly. Because if everybody in my class guessed red and the real answer was frozen, that tells me a lot of important information that we really need to revisit this question and some sort of misconception that students aren't getting. And then it auto grades them as well. So when they're going along with those, now what I want to do is another way that you can grade these things is by going to your teacher dashboard. So I'm going to open a new tab and click the extension to go to my dashboard. And on your dashboard, this is where all of your lessons kind of live, right? Because the way insert learning works is that it puts the layer of your lesson elements on top of the original article. So students still go to wonderopolis.org, which we feel is really important for students to get in the habit of learning, that you need to go out there and find different sources. And that's where our learning happens today. It's really a good opportunity to be able to evaluate sources as well. But so for grading them, click your grades section and then select your class. So this is going to be Teacher Chat 8. Select my class, and then there's my responses. Now I can see my students on there. And then from here, now this one I only have one. So I'm going to go back to my demo class. And I'm going to select one of them, one of my questions I've got here. What's really cool about this, so this class I've got a lot of students in here. Not all of them answered all of them, but I can now kind of start to see what students had in here. So with insert learning, what you can do is you can assign the same lesson out to multiple classes. And if I want to, I can now view things by, let's say, one question. So now I can see all of my students' responses for that one question in a spot, and I can add in their grades right here. Or if you instead you want to do by student, you can then select an individual student and now see what their answer was as they were kind of going along. So it gives you a lot of flexibility. It's going to give you the student score average. If you imported the class from Classroom, you can also export or send your grades out to Classroom. Heading over to the classes section, you can then view which students you have in that class. So let's say if it was, so for our demo class, I click on students. Now I can see all my students that are on here. You can remove students from a class if you want to. You cannot import students. It's except for Google Classroom, but otherwise students just enroll themselves. And you can also invite teachers to be co-teachers in your class. By clicking on invite co-teacher, you type in their email, and then they get an invite. And now the co-teacher, the two of you can collaborate on lessons at the same time, and you can assign lessons out and then view student responses on there. You can also delete a class, and then you can rename the class too if you need to. Over in the resources section, we've got a couple of different things. We've got the help center. But heading back over to lessons, there's two really exciting things that you want to check out. Is find content. Know what this does? This is a custom search engine that we created. So that covers about like 90 some different websites that are really great that we think are helpful for teachers finding good content to use with insert learning. The other thing is the public library. Now this we launched about like 3 or 4 weeks ago. And this is all lessons that other teachers have created and now published out to the library. And so it's what you can do is you can go through and you can then preview any of them that they have. This one I actually used with my students the other day. So if you click on it, what it'll do is it'll open up and give you a preview of that lesson. So as it loads, I just want to mention that like one thing that I love about looking at teachers' lessons is the sources of like where they find these lessons. I have never found some of these before, like the wait but why. I've never heard of it before. But it's got some really fun stuff, and the questions that Allie put in here are really fun. And this is just a hilarious article that my students really loved being able to read through. Let's get different questions. Kind of getting the students think a little bit in there. You can always share any of your lessons out to the public library by clicking on more options, and then share with teachers lets you now publicly list it, and you can copy this link, share with people. When you click publicly list this link, it'll ask you then to select a subject area and grade and any custom tags you want. And when you click save, it's going to post it to the public library. I'm not going to do that with this one. And then teachers can find your lessons and then copy them. But don't worry, anything that you send to the public library is there's no student data, anything like that. When they make a copy, that is their copy of the lesson, and they're free to do whatever you want. Same thing of if you end up making a copy, you can do whatever you want with that lesson, and that's yours. You can even make big changes to it and share that back out to the library. And now we've got multiple versions of lessons on the same original article, and that's some of the really exciting stuff. So I'm going to see if there's any questions here. Oh, do I see Kathy's sticky note? She said my audio is going out, which is unfortunate. So hopefully It came back. Let's head back over to Kathy's. And do I see her sticky note? Let's see here. I should see it. Oh, there it is. All right. Okay. So we are pretty much down to the end of tonight's webinar. If you have any questions, send us a question. This little chat button right here, you can send us a direct message. And lastly, I want to say, so Insert Learning, it is teacher funded, teacher run. We have completely self-funded this, except for like some money from our friends and family. But basically, there's no like big outside investors. It's just simply a teacher run startup. And so one of the things that we really appreciate is teachers sharing tools that they love with other educators. So if you really value Insert Learning, what you can do is invite people using your share code. And what's going to happen is that you will get a free month and they will also receive a free month. And what that really just means is that you can then create as many lessons as you want to. And after, because with the free version, when you sign up, you get 5 lessons at one time. You can create 5, delete them, create 5 more. But kind of having teachers share things that really work for them in the classroom is really what's able to help us continue going and developing amazing products. So thank you very much, everybody. Join us for next week's teacher chat. What are we talking about next week? I'm blanking on it right now. But I'll post that out, and have a great weekend. See, that's what happens when you teach. You kind of lose your mind here. And that's all. All right, thanks. Bye, everybody.